What's better than one centrifugal supercharger option for the mighty Olds Rocket 303 motor? How about two centrifugal supercharger options for this bastion of hot rodding culture? And if you want even more, why stop at centrifugal superchargers? We've also included a 471 Roots type blower, some additional naturally aspirated options, and a bunch of other cool hot rod goodies for SSG55 Hot Rod Roots 2. This file pack rounds out our look and our treatment of the mighty Olds Rocket 303, and we are going to walk through it here today on this video. Let's roll the intro, and we will be back to look at all 64 STL files in this file pack. Hey, model car and truck builders, Chris here from Scale Speed Garage. Gonna take you through this newest file pack released on November 1st, 2025. This file pack will be around for a month for SSG Parts members just joining us. SSG Pro and Elite members that are just joining us will have instant access to this file pack for about 2 to 3 months. When they join. If you are a Scale Speed Garage member already, you have access to this file pack now. Let's go ahead and take a look. This file pack contains 64 3D printable STL files, and this file pack rounds out our look at the mighty Olds Rocket 303 motor, considered one of the original hot rod engines back of the 1950s, and we've done some really cool period correct stuff for this engine. We've also given you a bunch of other really cool hot rod stuff as well. If you're building a Model A, a Model T, something else that's kind of from those early days of hot rodding, you're going to find a ton of parts in this file pack, also in SSG54. And if you're a Pro or Elite member, in SSG54 Overdrive, the bonus pack for Scale Speed Garage Pro and Elite members. Let's go ahead and take a look. The first configuration we're going to look at here is the McCulloch supercharged Rocket 303. This one is a 1950s vintage McCulloch supercharger. This is very similar to the supercharger that was used on the 1956-57 Ford Thunderbird F-Code motor. Here we've adapted it to the Rocket motor. So this is a centrifugal supercharger driven by a belt. This belt is its own separate piece. This belt and pulley assembly is its own separate piece for easy printing. A lot easier than trying to print these and the serpentine belts and pulleys all as one piece. A lot easier to get off the supports, a lot easier to paint and detail. We have also, if you want to use this supercharger on a different engine, or you just prefer the look of a thinner belt that you make from scratch, then we have also included the pulleys as separate items. Steven says, hello, good day. Good day, Steven. Hello to you. Hope you are excited to look through this Oldsmobile Rocket file pack here. I'm going to switch the camera in Fusion to perspective. Just makes for a little bit more natural of a viewing angle here. So we're going to go ahead and pull off the belt and pulley setup here because I do want to highlight some of the really intricate, cool detail that we have put in the front of this McCulloch supercharger. You know, one of the awesome things about 3D printing is that everything is scalable, and we go to great lengths here at Scale Speed Garage to design parts to be printable at a wide range of scales. Like I mentioned just a moment ago, this supercharger is the same supercharger that you would have found on the Ford Thunderbird F-Code, the 352 McCulloch supercharged V8. And I personally just received one of the AMT 1/16th scale Thunderbirds, and I'm really looking forward to making an F-code version of it with this supercharger blown up a couple of times in scale to 1/16 scale. So you see all that excellent detail there. Raymond says hello. What's going on, Raymond? How are you? You will also see here the tensioner arm for this supercharger is its own separate piece, and it is keyed for question-free assembly. So we'll pull it out here a little ways. Maybe if it'll let us. I'm trying to move a face, not the body. Let's give Fusion a second to catch up here. But with a lot of stuff, we do try to, pretty much with everything, if there's more than one way something could go together, we try to give you unique mounting pins for each side so that there is no question of what orientation something assembles in, no question of how it goes together. Just really makes for a nice, quick, easy building experience. And we're going to hopefully not crash Fusion here. We'll give that a second to catch up. But yeah, in general, our design philosophy, like I mentioned, make designs robust enough that they can be printed at a wide variety of scales. If you want to print this larger scale, if you want to print this at smaller scale, all of that should be doable. Up to a certain point, I would say some of the stuff probably gets a little thin and fragile if you're trying to print, say, at 1/64th scale. But, if you want to drop this down for a 1/32nd scale build, that should absolutely be doable. And vice versa, I think all of these files will print excellently all the way up to 1/8 scale or larger. You certainly might go through a lot of resin and take up a lot of build plate space doing so. But again, we want you to be able to print these things in a wide variety of scales and get a lot of versatility out of them. That's also why we include the extra parts like the generic belts and pulleys that you can use to adapt this to any build. Let's try moving the tensioner arm as an entire body and not just one of its faces. I think Fusion's going to enjoy that a lot more. There we go. So you can see the different mounting pin shape front and rear, so there's no question as to how that goes together. I'm going to hide that. Coming off of the back of the supercharger here again, and this is carried over from the Paxton supercharger that we did in the bonus pack. This is kind of an old school 1950s period correct intake style for a supercharger like this. You get this long, bendy, flex tube intake hose connected to sort of a canister air filter that would sit inside the fender well. These are separate pieces. I'll show you that real quick. Raymond says he was just looking through the goodies in this pack. I'm happy to add this kind of walkthrough. It can help with assembly when you get down to printing this and detailing it and building it. So then if we hide the air cleaner and we hide the intake tube, we see the rear of the supercharger here. The mounting bracket is its own separate piece for easy printing. Things like this can get a little fragile if they're glommed onto bigger pieces when you're removing those from the supports. The charge pipe is its own piece as well, and that is also keyed to both sides here. I'll keep hiding some of this stuff as we go through. And then the carb hat, the McCulloch supercharger, unlike the Paxton that we did in the bonus pack, the McCulloch supercharger just had a real basically designed carb hat that sits on top of the carb. This is the same carb. It is the Holley Dominator blow-through style carburetor. And some other goodies that we put into this file pack: the Olds Golden Rocket valve covers, We did have a lot of good response from people who looked at the bonus pack and, you know, thought that these faux lake pipe style exhaust headers would be are just so versatile and useful. And because we also planned on putting a what we call exhaust shop pack in here, we decided to drop these into this file pack as well. But you can see these are the style of headers that have the block off plate and then the dropouts where the actual exhaust gets routed under the car through some mufflers so it's not so ear-splittingly loud. We'll look at that exhaust shop here in just a moment. And so that kind of rounds out our look at this configuration of the rocket. But as I mentioned in the intro, we didn't stop there. We've got another couple naturally aspirated options that are going to look super period correct for this engine, as well as another entire supercharger setup that we'll look at as well. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. Now, it should be mentioned, this pack does not include all of the base engine files. Those came out in the previous file pack for all members, SSG55. So anything you see here in blue, these are only in SSG54. Everything in SSG55 are just some upgrade parts for this engine from the previous file pack. But you can see here we've given you two different options for triple carbureted, naturally aspirated options here. One is sort of a more generic triple carb intake manifold, the 3 Stromberg carbs with the intakes. These actually, the carbs as well, they're not blue here, but the carbs and the scoops are in SSG54 that can be reused in this file pack. And then also an Edelbrock triple carb intake as well, with some fantastic detailing here. This one was done through our partnership with Scale Auto Model Works, and Ryan is an excellent designer, really puts a lot of these really cool details in here that catch the eye when people look at your model up close. Raymond says he's got a question when we get to the interior goodies. I will happily answer that when we get there. We also included these cool Fenton headers. These are kind of a low profile header for this engine that make it useful in a lot of more cramped engine bays and whatnot. Also a finned valley cover here, as well as finned spark plug wire clamps for the valve covers. Kicking over now to the other supercharged option, the classic 471 type blower, again with a triple carb setup on top. This thing would look mean sitting in the front of like a Revell 1929 Model A Roadster or a Model A Coupe, the 30 or 32 Model A Coupes. So there is a look at that as well. Again, the belt and pulley setup is its own separate item, separate from the engine's regular serpentine belt for ease of printing and ease of detailing. And that rounds out our treatment of the Olds rocket motor. Now we're going to kick over to some body stuff. And here we have several different variations of hoods for the 32 Ford, another classic hot rod. So this first one with these side cutouts, we are calling the Deco hood. Just a really cool kind of 1930s Art Deco look. We do have just a smooth stock hood here as well. Two different options of hoods with flame cutouts in them. And 3 different louvered hood options, a 4-row, a 5-row, and a 6-row louvered hood. Greg dropped into the chat. Good to see you, Greg, saying that work is going to wait while he watches this, and I support that. The thing about work is even if you finish all the work in front of you, they're going to make more, so why not skip some of it and watch something cool instead? This 32 Ford hood here has a cutout for a bug catcher hood scoop, and this one has an integrated scoop with a separate grill piece that you can put on the front, and we left that separate for ease of detailing. Again, if you want to paint the grill for the scoop in chrome or whatever, that's easy to do. You don't have to do all the tricky masking to make that happen. All right, now we are moving into some of the interior stuff here. And I'm going to roll through this kind of quickly. I do have places to be, but I did want to get this out as well. Definitely want to get to Raymond's question here. Some long throw shifters for hot rods, just some various classic styles. Pretty self-explanatory here. We did give you the bomb shift knob separate as well in case you want to adapt that to any kit shifter. You sure can. I put one of these in a 29 Roadster that I built a couple of years ago. Absolutely love the way it looks sitting in that thing. Steering wheels, some kind of classic hot rod style steering wheels like the Banjo, and a twist on that one that we call the Acoustic, as well as like a 1950s, 60s style, and then some more kind of unique, real custom, classic, all the way to modern styles of steering wheels. And these are just set up on the back to really accept any sort of kit steering column. Vintage Air Streamline electric heater. This is kind of an in-dash or under-dash heater, and I'm wondering if Raymond has a question about this. I realized what happened with this one. This one is another file that came to us through our collaboration with Scale Auto Model Works. And when it came to us, it was in inches. When we exported it, it was exported in millimeters. And that was just kind of a little... Yep, Raymond, I am guessing your question was about the size here. Yeah, that was just an oversight on our part. So this item came in exactly 25.4 times too small. In your slicer, if you want, I will get an updated file uploaded for members to download that will fix the scaling issue. But in the meantime, if you're wanting to print one of these, you can just scale this to 2,540% in your slicer, and it'll be the proper size. And lastly here, we're looking at this exhaust shop, as we call it. And this is just kind of a modular exhaust system builder with various straights and bends and angles and over axle humps and X pipes and crossover pipes and exhaust clamps, as well as a few straight through style mufflers, kind of a classic cherry bomb glass pack, as well as some more modern straight through design mufflers. These are all sized to match the size of the exhaust dropout on the those faux lake pipes we just looked at. These are also sized outer diameter and inner diameter to match exactly evergreen styrene tube number 223, which works out to be about a 2.4 outer diameter tube in 2.4 inch in the real world, 2.4 scale inch outer diameter tube. So that's, once again, evergreen styrene tube number 223. And that rounds out a look at SSG55. We're not walking away from the hot rod theme quite yet. SSG56 is a really cool surprise that we have coming for you. That is going to be a full 3D printable kit with yet a different engine, another classic engine. We're kind of keeping the wraps on that one for right now, just because I do love to drop surprises every once in a while. And we're going to celebrate our 4th birthday as Scale Speed Garage this month by giving all members this cool surprise full 3D printable kit. Look for that towards the end of the month. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, drop a comment here on YouTube. We are Scale Speed Garage on all of the socials. You can also send an email to Chris at Scale Speed Garage, or check us out at www.scalespeedgarage.com. We'll catch you very soon. In the meantime, happy building. Go build some cool hot rods, why don't you?